We just finished this episode talking about your 1 year in review, your first year in early retirement, and what that was like. And you are still kind of struggling with this idea about getting pulled back to work. And what's that all about? Why take a job?
Yeah, that's the question of the hour, right? I think worth stating is that just historically thinking about like my, full-time working years, I am prone to latch on to ideas and get really excited about them. And when you combine that with my very low activation energy required to make a big change, like that's going to happen. And maybe I'm also a little surprised that it's still happening at this point, but not so much. I think the particular circumstance you're talking about is more, in my opinion, although I'm very excited to hear what you're gonna diagnose me as. It just feels like one of those like ideal job opportunities. And I'm not looking like in my head thinking like, oh, a 40-hour week plus job sounds great, because I'm not.
Is that what this is?
It's a full-time job.
Okay, describe what it is.
Yeah. So very good friend of mine from college, and who I've kept in touch with since, is one of the owners of a very successful and fantastic brewery in the Northwest US. And we've always talked over the years, as he knew about my fire journey, and he's somebody who retired early from his, traditional career as well, to go into a totally different thing here with starting this brewery. We had always talked about like, oh, it'd be fun to work together, or maybe once I pull the trigger on leaving my job, maybe I'll move up with you, your area of the country, and do some internships there, and that'll help me decide, do I want to start my own brewery or something in the beer industry. And we didn't end up doing that. If you think back to our episode about where to live, we had nixed Oregon, despite there's a lot of things about it we like. Didn't meet a bunch of the criteria that were particularly important to Lori. So we took Hood River off the list and other parts of Oregon and just kind of moved on. But
you didn't move on.
Yeah, what's that?
You didn't really move on. Psychologically.
Apparently not in the back of my mind anyhow. But so they had a job open up, heading up their lab, right? All the microbiology and QA QC that happens in a brewery, something that would fit really well into my background, just opened up unexpectedly. I became aware of it, was asked about maybe passing it on to people who could be interested in my network, and just started thinking like, how is this job not like the perfect fit for me? And like, what a safe time in my life to just do something like that. Like, that was my gut reaction, which admittedly is crazy, right? We just bought a house a year ago. Our daughter is in a new high school, doing well. And we've, basically committed, we're going to stay here for the next, additional 3 years from now. What happens beyond that, who knows? And then this comes up, and I got all excited about it. And of course, I had to text you to let you react to me just thinking about wild things once again. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah. So what did I tell you? What was my advice?
You told me I should apply.
You know why?
No.
You don't know why I told you that?
So I could go through it and realize that I didn't really want it.
Kinda. I don't know if that's the true answer that you'll discover, but it just reminded me sometimes, when you have that friend that keeps asking you for advice and you keep like kind of giving them like an answer is like, well, this is what you've been telling me. Right, so you, Jason, have been telling me I want time freedom. And then that's in this year. And in this year, it's like, but there's this job, And so I'm trying to just say, okay, it doesn't sound like time freedom's that important. It sounds like the thing over here is more important. And so maybe it's time to kind of try and really solve what that problem is. And I have some thoughts on what I think that is for you, but tell me, it can't be financially motivated, right?
No, it's not at all financially motivated. I have no idea what this type of job would even pay, but I wouldn't count on it being anything magnificent, because that's just not what that industry is about.
Is it filling the same hole that the working in the winery is?
Outside of just the kind of nature abhors a vacuum, right? Fill empty space with something. I've had this thought repeatedly over recent months that I feel like there's something I want to be making or creating.
Yeah.
And I've had, this constant thoughts of like, there's some other podcast I want to do, like something where I could share information to an audience of maybe a few people that I would just enjoy. Or writing a book is something you and I have discussed before, and that's come back into my mind. And I realize I haven't given either of those ideas really the time they're due. In other words, I don't have any ideas good enough that I want to invest the effort. But then maybe something like this, which is more tangible, something I understand. And even though it would be a stretch from, some of the types of things I've done before, in many ways, it's very comfortable. And so to my brain, it's like, hey, there's an empty slot in here. Well, this would fit in there just fine. Like, why don't you consider that? I mean, that's kind of the best thing I've come up with. I've kind of cooled on the romance of that idea, by the way, because I recognize just how foolish it is. But I am interested in what you have been thinking about since I was texting you. Like, what do you think is at root of that?
Well, I just think it's there's something that you're not satisfied with in your current station in life right now. And it's like, I don't know if this is too personal, but
yeah, we'll decide.
Like last night when we were talking on our weekly phone call, I noticed you were distracted. You were looking outside. And I think that was in part because you were having this homebrew club meeting and you were wanting to make sure no one was going to show up, or maybe your head was just somewhere else. But to me, it kind of speaks to that larger issue where there are a lot of things that you're satisfied with in your life right now, but there's something missing. And you are looking to plug that hole. And I think it's a socialization component. I could think that's part of it. That you need to be around other people and other people like infusing you with new ideas and seeing new things and experiencing a lot of new things. And so I think some of that could be filled with travel or, having different activities outside of your home, outside, that you might run a larger circle than what you're running right now. And that naturally I would expect would come with time and just you making larger explorations. But then there is this component of work, this intangible component of work that is satisfying to you. And there's a structure to work that you haven't been able to create for yourself in your retired life yet, which is no surprise. I mean, it's so early, and you're someone who's putting a lot of demands on yourself to have solved that already. And I think those are unreasonable demands personally. And also things that you didn't really, they're of your own making. Like it's just your own invention, and it doesn't have to be there. What struck me was the lengths to which you're willing to go to kind of solve that, though, because you were contemplating, if you were to make this true, you'd be essentially leaving California and all the things you've set in place here, right, and moving to Oregon.
Right.
That's not insignificant, right?
No, it's huge and it's ludicrous.
But it speaks to in some ways, I think it speaks to the problem set that you're confronting, because it is kind of more of a big deal than I think you're letting on.
Yeah. Well,
is that true?
I think unreasonable is, hey family, and I did not say this to them. Hey family, let's uproot everything. Try to sell this house and move somewhere else to take a job that I might really enjoy for 3 months. And then the rest of that year, I might start thinking about like, oh, what have I got myself into?
Right. Well, I'm glad to see you kind of came back down to earth on that one, because it seemed like I just thought there has to be other ways of you solving that problem locally, given the number of breweries and things that are in your general area. Like, okay, it may not be the award-winning one with your friend in Oregon, which I know is a place that you want to be, but there could be an avatar for that pretty close to home where you wouldn't have to pull the rug out from underneath your family.